So I'm joined here with Tyler Steenken today of Cole Realty Information, and we're going to be diving into three strategies to help you dominate your farm. Good afternoon, Tyler.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me. Super excited for the opportunity to talk some with the agents that are within your network.
Oh, absolutely. We recently formed this partnership. I've been a big fan of Cole over the years, and it's when you're looking at prospecting, and I know you're going to jump into talking about some relationship building today. It's important to have the information to be able to go out and do that, and that's what y'all do, and y'all
Yep.
specialize at it very high level. So, tell me a little bit about Cole, the history. It's pretty rich history.
Yeah, so we've been around forever, is what I always say, right? So 70 years in the business, right? We've reinvented ourselves over the years with different things that we've provided, but the basics are provide contact information at a very hyper local concept, right? So when I started here 15 years ago, all we sold were printed crisscross directories. So if you're out in the field and you're talking to people are like, I've never heard of Cole before, but I've heard of the crisscross directories. We're that same company. And had you ever seen one of those in the past?
I started back in 2004. I remember the big books. There's
Yep.
several of them, and then it got really fancy when y'all started offering the disc, the CD disc.
Yep, the CD-ROM to go with it. So, and for those of you not familiar with the books, is essentially you could buy a directory whether you were in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I live, or Houston, Texas, or Syracuse, New York, right? And you'd open up a crisscross directory and would have all the streets in that market in alphabetical order. So let's say we found Patterson Street. It would tell you 101, 102, 103, everybody up and down Patterson Street, who lived there, Mark and Linda Jones, if they own their home, their phone number, and different demographics like that. So kind of like the phone book, but arranged, by geographic area instead. And so the importance of it for real estate was that you could go in there and look up a phone number for an expired listing that came up in the MLS, that you could get everybody down the street and invite them to an open house, right? And then not just in real estate, but any small business, so if you had a tree trimming business, I'm going to send a crew out all the way across town. I might as well contact the neighbors. Or 15 years ago, when I first started here, Law and Order actually called us and had us send a book to their set, so they have a law officers call everybody up and down an apartment building. Hey, go grab the cold crisscross directory to see if the tenants of that apartment building saw the break-in that happened. But that sort of same concept hasn't changed, and now it's online where at your fingertips you can go in and grab a specific neighborhood or a street or an entire zip code of everyone's data, their names, cell phone numbers, email addresses, that fun stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences, and just let our audience know that's watching on the Facebook page, if you want to pop in with any questions, we'll make sure we address some of those at the end. But one of the big differences is, back in the day, it was just the home and the landlines.
Right.
And, so tell us a little bit about how that expanded and, how you go about sourcing your data.
Yeah. So I vividly remember the first conversation we had as a company. Our management team was involved, and this is probably 7-ish years ago, of how do we not become the next Blockbuster, because we only had landline information at that point and our customers were dropping, right? We went to several data providers and partnered up with a lot of folks, because you can't just call T-Mobile and say, hey, give me your file of 100 million consumers and update it once a month. Landline, you could. Local companies, that was public data. Cell phone, it wasn't. So we started working with third-party vendors. So Jeremy, think of where you as a consumer would go put your email down. Maybe if you got your oil changed on your car, right? If you got a warranty on your vehicle, if you took a survey of some sort, all that information can pile into a database, a nationwide file that we house internally, that we're updating all the time. Does it mean that every record's 100% accurate? No, by no means. However, it is unlimited contact information that we provide to allow you as a small business, or a realtor as a small business, to go out there and have meaningful conversations, as many as you can.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to bring up, is that, I get that question sometimes of those that use Cole as a tool. They say, well, they're not 100% correct. And I said, okay, well, great. Even if it's 65 to 70% correct, that's 65 to 70% more data than you never had before.
Oh, you're exactly right. And then I will, again, I've been for 15 years, Jeremy. So I hear that question. I think, okay, well, all depends on the script that you're using as well. Because if you use a script and saying, hey, this is Tyler over at XYZ Realty, you're probably wondering why I'm calling, right? And you don't ask for the person directly even. You don't even mention the address they're at. And then you say, throughout, you get into the conversation, and then they might say, well, I've had that address for a few years. Oh, sorry about that, Jeremy. Well, I must have some bad data. What neighborhood do you live in now? Oh, Meadows neighborhood? That's like in South Lincoln, right? Yeah. By the new school? Oh, do you love it there? And you start having a conversation with somebody. Because that's what's most important.
I've had some coaching clients that have in the past, I've had them, they've called the wrong person or the wrong number, or they were trying to figure out who this was in their cell phone. They had no idea, yet they still prospected the number, and they ended up had one agent that made, closed on a deal that was a little over $1 million, $30,000 on a wrong number.
On a wrong number, right? So that it's just about having conversations every day. And I guess to lead into that, Jeremy, my role here at Cole is I run our strategic partnership program, right? So bringing on new partners like yourself. And I've been doing that for numerous years now. And I'm traveling across the country all the time, going to all these different training events. And so is, when they interview the top agents on stage, right? The agents, the mega agents that are really crushing it. One of the common things that I hear from all of them is you need to be focusing on having more conversation, more relationships with people, and not buying leads, right? So I've never heard anyone say, oh yeah, I'm spending $8,000 a month on these 3 lead sources and have a huge ROI with it, because it's really tough. Because what's happening is, as a consumer or a homeowner or a buyer, whatever it is, once you go onto one of those lead portal sites, you didn't on one of them, Jeremy. You went on, the big 3 that we all can name, and then so on and so on. So all of a sudden, that lead that you're getting, that you're spending $100 on or whatever it is, it's getting called by dozens of other agents
that have no relationship.
With you. So, everyone that I talk to that are really, they understand how to grow a business with an ROI and sustain it. They're in a program similar to, our program or a similar program to go out there and just have kind of conversations where you stay top of mind with folks prior to them raising their hand and going to one of those lead gen portals.
Yeah, so I want to ask you a philosophical question on this, because I'm in the real estate industry as well. I still have my license. I've had it since 2004. And, it comes up, a lot of these brokerages, you're seeing a lot of movement to the tech world. You have tech enabled, or, tech completely 100% tech driven, or you have the tech enabled agent. And I have this belief that those are all great things that are happening, and maybe can help facilitate the speed of the transaction. Mm-hmm. Yet, going back to some of these basics that have always worked since real estate has been in existence, do you see sometimes that the agents get overly focused on all the shiny stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And we've got something right here that, getting them the information, they can build those relationships.
Oh, I mean, I see it all the time. And personally, that's why I believe have such a high failure rate in this world that we're in, right? I mean, it's you hear all the time, never open up a bar or open up a new restaurant. Like, those are really risky businesses to get into. But in reality, have a way higher failure rate than those industries, right? Because they're not considering, I have to actually make money, right? I have to have an ROI. Yeah, great. Doing mailings are great, but guys, to send out 1,000 mailers might cost you $1,000, right? I have no idea what people are doing with those postcards and mailers that you're sending. Whereas instead, if you went and focused your time on door knocking, holding a community event in a neighborhood and inviting the neighbors to that event where you can have face-to-face people, that's where you can actually start making money, building relationships, and grow your business exponentially. And then you just look at raw numbers, right? Where, I mean, data is going to tell us 10% of all households are going to move this year. That's just U.S. Census data. Yeah, some neighborhoods might be higher or lower, renters higher or lower, but 10%. And then NAR's put out numerous years that will say that 70% of sellers will only interview one agent to list and sell their home. So think about it. 70% of the time, a seller is going to go with somebody that they have a relationship with, that they're top of mind with, somebody that they've met, and they're not going to use someone else. And so I pose this question every day when I'm speaking to agents, when I'm teaching classes of, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to be top of mind? What are you doing to get in front of folks before they raise their hand? Right? And if you're a seasoned agent, how are you going to get from 10 transactions a year to 15? Or if you're at 50 and you want to get to 60, and I'll tell you what, the agents crushing it, they're having more conversations. They're focusing on building relationships.
Yeah, I see that all the time. And when I'm coaching, the agents that are having more conversations, the ones that are doing more activities, they always win.
Yeah.
And if they're doing less, there's never a chance for them to win. It never happens. It's always the person that's making the contacts. Yeah. And you've got to have information to do that. So you've either got your sphere of influence, which everybody should have in their CRM and they're working at.
Yep, your database.
Beyond that.
Yep. And then, so that's what I'm going to talk about here, if you don't mind, here for a little bit, Jeremy, would be 3 different ways to go behind, to after you work, to go beyond your sphere. You should work your sphere or database, 100%. Then after that, who can you contact, right? So one of the case studies I talk about often when I teach classes here at Cole is a client of ours, Greg Harrelson, South Carolina, top 1% realtor nationwide in numerous different publications that are put out, right? He's been using our product for 10 years. Right? So, and he'll say one of the first things to do if you really want to, break into a farm and own a specific neighborhood is you need the data, right? To be able to contact people in order to have those conversations. And so when I interviewed him recently, he talked about how to become a community dominator. That term, has kind of a sexy slang to it, community dominator, right? So Greg, I asked him, how do you become a community dominator? And so he talks about, well, first you have to find your farm that makes sense. So whether it's the neighborhood that you live in already, you go to school in, your church is located in, maybe it's a coffee shop that you go to every day and you're meeting people and it's close to this certain subdivision, right? Some sort of reason for you to be involved with that neighborhood for your first farm that you want to dominate. What he talks about is you can't just go and just start calling everybody, are you ready to sell, right? They don't know who you are. They don't know anything about you. So the best ways that he advises agents to do what to do and what he does is do some sort of community event within that neighborhood. Think of maybe holding a movie in the park. Yep. The neighborhood park and inviting all the neighbors to attend, getting a food truck, having all the neighbors come for slushies or snow cones or something like that. Or the things that I hear a lot from customers that I love is think about a nonprofit that you can help support. So maybe People City Mission and you can do a food drive. So now you can call and email everybody in that neighborhood and say, hey, we're at the park from 10 to 2 at the South Edenton Neighborhood Park. Food for the People City Mission. We'd love for you to stop by, drop off some food, and we'll bring it over to the shelter on your behalf. Let them know it came from the Edenton South subdivision. And if you can't make it, we'll leave it on the porch and we'll stop by.
Yeah, it's the whole idea of the giver's gain, right? And bringing that value back to the community in which you want to serve. And remember that.
Yep, exactly. And then it gives you a chance to have face-to-face conversations with people. And asking open-ended questions, right? Like, oh, well, how long have you lived in the neighborhood, right? Oh, where are you from originally? Have you ever thought about moving back there? So what do you like about the neighborhood? What's your favorite thing about the neighborhood? So is there anything that you don't like about it? And when you start having face-to-face conversations or phone-to-phone conversations, you'll realize people will start saying things like, yeah, we love the neighborhood, but all of our friends are starting to move away. It's starting to turn. We really don't know anybody who lives there anymore. Okay, a buying sign or a selling sign in this case.
Yeah, that's a selling sign. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
They ask them the question, "What do you not like?" and they go on and on and on. It's
right.
Need to help them move on, right?
Right, and then you'll discover like kind of the long term about it is that people are going to be like, "Oh no, we love the neighborhood, but our daughter graduates in a year and a half, and at that point, we're probably going to be ready to downsize, but we're not leaving until then, right?" Or what you guys if you do this enough and you start calling, then you do a community event, and then you say, anytime there's any activity in the neighborhood, you call around and just listed and let the neighbors know about it. You call around and just sold, let the neighbors know about it. Hold an open house, invite all the neighbors. And as you're doing that, you'll start realizing, oh, people get divorced, without it kind of coming out of the blue, right? People get job transfers, people pass away. So as you're doing these activities, you're top of mind, and you're going to catch people at the right time, because they're going to be basically saying, hallelujah, I can't believe that you just called, or that you sent me that email. My wife and I were just talking yesterday, yada, yada, yada. And so you can't get in front of those folks unless you do something, right? And it has to be meaningful conversations. Greg will talk about how he creates an e-newsletter specifically for that neighborhood, right? So if the neighborhood is called Pine Oak Subdivision, maybe it's a play on that of Pine Daily or Pine Monthly News, right? That e-newsletter, he grabs all the emails from a product like Cole. We can provide you all the emails in that subdivision, or as many as we have. And then anytime he talks to somebody, he gets more emails from them, asks for their email to add to his database, creates one database for that neighborhood, and provides them content. It's so important to be known as the industry expert. Giving them information like the number of transactions that happen, the number of, the new, if our home price is up, are they down? Is there a new restaurant opening up in the neighborhood? He goes, I don't give them my grandma's chili recipe. Make them think of me as being a realtor, right? So I give them content. Long-term and always providing value to folks.
Yeah, and it's value whether or not they're thinking about buying or selling, because in the end, what are you really working towards? Mind share.
Right, exactly.
Time comes, you want to have positioned yourself to be hopefully number one, if not number two. If you're number three, you might as well forget it. Be there as in the mind share. So when they make that decision, they're like, okay, yeah, let's go use Tyler.
Yep, exactly. So that's the first case study I talk about quite a bit, Jeremy. The second one would be leveraging inventory as a way to contact a specific neighborhood. So I know that the shift is kind of happening, and it's not as, but still in a lot of markets, there's still a low inventory, right? So for example, John Masillo, he's a client of ours up in New Hampshire. And so I interviewed him here a while back. He's been a customer of ours on and off for a couple of years. And he recently had sellers that lived in a really busy street that said, hey, you can sell our property, but we're not moving. We're not going to sell it until you find us a house in one of these neighborhoods, right? And so they gave him the neighborhoods that they wanted to be in. He went into Cole, grabbed the contact information, the cell phones and emails out of that neighborhood, downloaded the cell phones, and then put them into Slide Dial. Have you
Yeah, slide dial, or did you slide broadcast or slide dial?
And then slide broadcast, right? So for those of you guys that don't know that company, separate than us, how basically the concept is that you can record a voicemail, cell phone number, and it will deliver that voicemail, that message to somebody without their phone ever ringing, right? And then they have a broadcast feature where you could upload 50 phone numbers, 5,000 phone numbers, and you pay a penny or two per delivered voicemail. So what John said, he's like, I'm never going to make the phone calls, Tyler. It's just not in me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. But leveraging this technology to make phone numbers actionable, I can do. So we recorded a voicemail, something like this. Hey, this is John Masillo. I'm a local real estate agent just down the block from you. I was giving you a call because I have a great family with 2 young kids that live on Patterson Street. It's such a busy street. You never would want to raise kids on that street. And they want to live in a neighborhood like yours, right? Quiet neighborhood, big trees, let their kids run. And in the Maxey School District as well. So I was wondering if you knew of anybody who might be looking to move here soon, or if you've thought about it yourself and you don't want to have, dozens of people coming through your house to get a call. I'd love for my buyers to look at your property, right? Drop that voicemail. He actually sent the same sort of email with the subject line, buyers looking in Edenton South neighborhood, something like that. So the husband replied back to him, called him back from a couple. The wife replied to his email, ironically, essentially saying they were downsizing. They were getting ready to move into a retirement home. They were about to put their house in the market, hadn't done it yet. Yep, bring your buyers through if you're serious, right? So fast forward, His buyers came to the property. They loved it. He got a pocket listing out of the deal, and he leveraged that and was able to get their house then sold since he had found them a house to live in. Right. So what I'll tell everybody is just use an example of any buyer that you're working with, right? If they want to live in a specific neighborhood, maybe they want to live closer to their in-laws. You have a retired family that wants to move into a quiet neighborhood with big trees. Tell that story and then leverage a program like Slide Dial to go with it as well. And what he actually did was he got a Google phone number, Jeremy. So for $5 a month, you can get a Google phone number. It's a local phone number. And he used that phone number when he dropped the voicemail, because that way, as people called him back, or they just saw a voicemail and didn't listen to it and just hit recall, he knew instantly it was about the phone message that he had just dropped. So it helped that rapport as people called him back right away as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. Using the Google Voice line to be able to indicate, is something working. The other thing too you brought up is a lot of times, especially if they're a newer agent or they don't have a client, go borrow somebody's client. If you're in a team meeting in your office, and they've got a buyer, go find out what the profile is for this buyer and utilize that as an opportunity to go find that listing to match them up. So you might not be on both sides, but you could be at least on the listing side. So you don't even need a client necessarily to make this work. Go borrow somebody's.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely agreed. So, and again, just thinking outside the box, people do this with open houses, have an open house and then invite all the neighbors to the open house, just different things like that. So that's one way to dominate it. The second way that I talk about of a way to help you guys dominate your farms, a strategy. And the third thing is Kyle Whistle, a client of ours in San Diego, Wall Street Journal actually just named him I think number 79 on their list of top producing agents in the country. He's a client of ours off and on for about a decade, similar to Greg Harrelson. And when I interviewed him here recently, he talked about creating a massive buzz around his listings via open houses. So what he would do is on the Friday, he'd invite neighbors. What he does, invite neighbors to the open house on a Friday night prior to the public open house on a Sunday. So he'll grab all the contact information from a neighborhood, get their cell phones, their emails, they'll go door knocking, and they'll invite everybody. And a lot of times get a food truck, and we'll have a food truck parked out front of the open house. And they just make it a big event, right? But it's open house signs everywhere and creates this massive excitement around the open house. And he'll say straightforward, Jeremy, it's very rare that one of my neighbors actually bring a buyer for the open house. I mean, it's very rare that happens.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're looking for listings.
Yeah, correct. That's the whole goal. His goal is it gives him a chance to have conversations with neighbors, right? And ask him the same questions that I talked about earlier. Oh, how long have you lived in this neighborhood? What do you like about the neighborhood? What don't you like about the neighborhood? Where are you from originally? Have you ever thought about moving back there? And what it will also say, a lot of times the neighbors who do come to the Friday open house, well, they're the ones that are already on the fence and are thinking about selling. And so they want to get into the Joneses' house without it being awkward. They want to go look at the Joneses' house so they can compare the inside of their house to the house that they live in. And now if the Joneses' house sells for $400,000, they're like, oh my gosh, it might be time for us to enter this market as well, right? Kyle also points out during my interview with him, Jeremy, is that, by him just saying that he's going to do that helps him win business. He does go on a listing appointment, and in the rare occasion where he actually is competing with another agent for that listing, when he can say, you know what I'll do as your agent, I'll actually go in and I have a program where I'll call the closest 500 neighbors and invite them to an open house, right? I will create as much buzz as I can.
Well, it makes them feel special too, right?
Absolutely. And the neighbors see that he did that and they're like, wow, if I'm going to pay this amount on commission, I want an agent who's going to go out there and roll up their sleeves and earn their money and get my house sold. Look at this Kyle Whistle's doing. Look for every one of his listings. I want him to do the same thing for me, right? Kind of a snowball effect by doing these things, like the bigger picture around them all.
It's kind of sad, I'll drive through my neighborhood sometimes and I'll see the sign. It's got like the limp balloon that's blowing around on the ground for open house. And then I've got some agents that I coach, they turn their open house into an event. And that's just next level stuff. If you really want to grow your business, Tyler, this is a great tip that you're sharing, that making an event, make people feel special about it, and use the Cole information to be able to help you facilitate that.
Right. And the ROI at this point, a lot of it's, okay, maybe some extra signs for open houses might cost you a little bit of money. Other than that, it's just time, right? What equity? And most agents that I talk to, they have the time to do that, Jeremy. I mean, until you get to a part of your business where then you need to take it to the next level, then you can still do that, but you can outsource that stuff as well and go that route. So yeah, those are just 3 winning formulas that I would encourage everybody on this call watching today to think about. Hey, would I want to incorporate that? Is this a way that I can start growing my business as well? And then price wise, Jeremy, we're super affordable. It's $99 a month for unlimited data per agent, right? So $99.95 a month, a 3-month commitment. So everything that I've talked about, most of it can just be done door knocking, and that's free of charge, right? Sure. However, if you want a source to make the data, make it quicker and easier, I would hope everybody would maybe consider Cole on this call as an option. And then we offer, it's a 3-month commitment. So $99 a month, essentially for 3 months. And then after that, it's $99 a month as well. And then we have a landing page set up specifically for you guys, Jeremy. So it's ColeRealtyResource.com. So Cole, C-O-L-E, ColeRealtyResource.com /Red Hawk Coaching.
Yeah, and I've dropped it here, Tyler, into the comments here. We got Juan Pablo on. We got Kevin and Francie Watson, Angie, that's currently watching right now. So that link is right there at the top if y'all want to get information.
And if you guys fill out, so it's a co-branded landing page between our companies, and on the bottom of it, it has where you can fill out a form for a contact us. If you guys do fill that out, we'll actually send you the full 20-minute video interviews that I did with each 3 of those agents, where they really outline the details of their strategies. So you fill out that form, we'll send over those videos to you as well, and we'd be happy to give you guys a tour of your neighborhoods and zip codes via Join Me or a screen share, so you can see how many cell phones and emails we'd have in your market as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to be impressed if they jump on there and they see what power this tool has. Just be able to go drop a pin and say, I want the closest 200 homes, and you got your list just like that. We didn't dive into social media marketing and creating custom audiences. Now you have all the data to be able to upload that to create your own custom audiences in Facebook for targeted marketing.
You're exactly right. And I will say, that is one of, so when Greg, the first interview that I talked about, the case study of him becoming a community dominator, that is one of his last steps, actually, where he'll then upload those same emails that he's gotten from our product, and then other going out and door knocking and getting emails out of that neighborhood. He'll upload them into a custom audience, and it's very affordable then to do that, and it's very hyper local, because then people are thinking, oh my gosh, that Greg Harrelson, he's everywhere. He's calling, he's emailing. Now he's on Facebook talking about my subdivision. He must be doing that for all of Lincoln, Nebraska. But in reality, he's just doing it for that neighborhood, right? And becoming omnipresent. Grant Cardone talks about being omnipresent. This is going to be omnipresent in 10 times in it, but very, very affordable way to do it.
Yeah, when you started, it's a guerrilla marketing technique. You use Cole Realty Resource, and you can hit them by email and phone number and custom audiences, and you go at door knock and you host open houses, and you get a foothold in the community by having a listing. Now you're marketing that listing. Over time, it looks like nobody else is working there.
Yep, exactly. And again, everything in my mind, the most important part of it is there's an ROI with it, right? You're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these tools that not amount to anything, right? And then now you're upside down in your business, and you're not making the income that you need to really grow your business and sustain it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, if they have deeper questions than what I can answer as being a strategic partner, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, the same thing. So, I'd go to your landing page. So, Cole Realty colerealtyresource.com, again, /Red Hot Coaching, or just go to our website, Google our phone number, and call one of our service or our sales guys or inside sales guys. Make sure that they mention your name to make sure they get the best price and stuff that we offer as well. So again, I would encourage everybody to fill out a form on your landing page, or just call us up, and again, it's about 5-10 minutes, and we could give them a tour and just say, hey, this is what, we have 8,500 cell phone numbers in your zip code alone, or 12,000 emails in your zip code alone, or your neighborhood, and get an idea of, what sort of saturation we would have when it comes to data in your area.
Well, I appreciate the time you've taken, Tyler, today. Those are 3 great tips. And, if you're listening to this call and you're thinking about farming, don't hesitate. You need the information in order to be able to be really successful at a high level. Look at what's being offered by Cole Realty Resource. And I think great things will happen. It's all about implementation and taking action.
Right.
We can think on it all day, but until we actually pull the trigger and go and do something, we're not going to be able to experience the results and the fruit that we want in our business. So, Tyler, thank you again, and I appreciate you for joining us today.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. Have a great day.